Hey Melanie, good progress here. I really like the way your caricature's coming along. So let's look at the background and the text. I kind of like all of these fonts, though. This one's hard to read, and I would suggest putting them closer together so it doesn't look, there's this idea of proximity with text. If you have them too separated, they don't, it doesn't look unified. So I think that, I mean, it's great that you're putting them on different layers because that's exactly great. But again, needs to be closer. And again, watch the overlap. See this blue on the dark makes it really hard to read. Whoops. But see how well you can read this. You just need to have the same, the same thing for all of them. So even see when you start to put the images, the edge of the image is behind it, it's hard to read, and also when there's not enough contrast. So I would just work on this a little bit more. And again, you could go in. One way to fix that too is you could go into the layer styles and you could add an outer glow or a stroke or something like that. And again, I just do this really quick because I just wanted to, because sometimes that can really work to make something stand out. I don't like this pink at all, but I just wanted to show you it. You can do, all different kinds of things. Like sometimes strokes look really good. Like just a white stroke can also kind of add a nice little touch. And again, you have to make it. You can see how that's a little bit. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you that. You can do the same with other text. So the background image, I don't know what you did with the stylizer. I mean, I use these tools too, but I think you went a little bit too far with it because now it just looks blurry. So I would bring it back a little bit. Yeah, because what happens when it's just a big blur, you don't even know what it is. It just looks like green mass. I mean, it's a good idea to blur in terms of making this stand out more because blurry tends to recede, but not this much because it does also create all this negative space here. The next thing is you might want to spend some time really refining some of these points where the shovel connects to the carrot. The carrot looks great, by the way, just because it looks a little sloppy. And I would also do some levels to make these eyes stand out. I mean, you could also do something, let me see. You could go and you could add, let me see which one that is. No, that's the other one's the one that really needs it. I mean, you could, again, go into a layer style too and add something like an outer glow. Just not that big. Wow, that looks really bad. And not that color either, but you know what I'm saying, just to make it, because it needs to stand out a little bit more. But I think also if you go in, where are we here, and do a levels, I think I showed you this before. I know I'm repeating myself a lot of times, but when I don't see incorporated, I just end up repeating because, and I know students don't view these things either. So, okay, but there's that. Now that's standing out a little bit more, right? So I'm just going to clip this and just see, so let's see if it's any different. Yeah, it comes out a little bit more, right? So another thing you can do too is, if you want this to look more saturated, you can go up and add a hue and saturation adjustment as well. And again, be sure just to look at the one layer because I'm going to clip it. So if you push the saturation, see how it's affecting that layer style too, though. That's too bad. I just wanted to, yeah, that should be, the layer style should definitely be turned off when doing this. So anyway, I'm just going to turn that off because I don't think it's adding much to it. But that is something you might consider for the cactus because they could stand out a little bit more as well. They're just looking, I mean, I just think if they were a little bit more saturated, and I see you've added all these filters, but yeah, they're not, they're not just not working super great on everything. So, and again, oh, I see. Oh, I don't know. Is this supposed to be turned on or off? I can't tell. Oh, shoot, I might have done something because I don't think it looked like that before. Oh, let me go to the history. So you might want to bring the saturation out. Another thing that would look really good with this is to add one of these cast shadows. And if you just look up in the threads above, if I can find it here. Oh, this is the tutorial here. And again, it's not a drop shadow. It's a little process. It takes like 5 steps, but it creates a cast shadow, and it works to ground the object into the background a little bit more so it doesn't look floating. So another thing that's pretty important that I pointed out earlier is your image is still the wrong size. It needs to be 8 by 10, not 14 by 10. So again, really important to get the specs right, especially this late in the date, because if you're working for a client, you really don't want to miss the specs at all with a client. And this is from week 1, so be sure to really change these. So yeah, but overall I like that. I'm trying to, let me see if all these are in one layer. Another thing, just a second. Okay, I just put these all in one layer. Another thing in regards to the size relationship, the caricature could really, I wonder why it's not moving. The caricature could really be bigger. And again, once you get the size right, you'll be able to adjust this better. Just because the caricature is really the main point here. I mean, you could stick with this horizontal. I mean, this is too big because it doesn't fit, but I think once you get the size specs right, you could even do something like this and then cut it off and make this part 8 and this part 10. And overlaps are actually not, aren't a bad idea either, because they can create some interest, but I'd probably put the shovel on top of the garden. So yeah, anyway, yeah, just some suggestions. Be sure to get the basic stuff right. And, I would really discourage you from using too many of these effects. I mean, they're great and everything, but unless they really enhance it, they kind of take a lot of time. I mean, I love using them for some things, but especially like the bleach bypass and the that glow filter and stuff like that. But overall, you really want the caricature to stand out the most. I mean, look at how cool it looks. I mean, you just don't want that background sucking it up completely. It's too, but once you get the size, if you put it like this, you could probably put the text over here, or you can, you could keep it in the horizontal orientation, and just fit the text into a, into the background a little bit more. Okay.